Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa D'Amico, the curator of the Global Garden, which is being hosted by the Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut. And today I have the great pleasure of speaking with Eddie Hall, who has two pieces in the exhibit. And I would love to hear more about his work, and I know you would too. So Eddie, please talk about, I'm kind of curious why you selected those two. I mean, I know why I chose them to be in the exhibit. I'm
Yeah,
curious to know why you, out of all your works, you picked those two pieces to submit.
I think there was something about those two pieces that are in the exhibit, which are Ernest and Descending. They they're very similar. They're actually based on I use recycled windows for all of my work, and those two are kind of a pair in that they're all in the same type of window, which has an interesting effect to it. It has a there's a primary window and then a storm window that were attached. I found it in an antique store, and as soon as I found it, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And I bought one and I took it home, and then I realized I could get this kind of depth effect out of it. And as soon as I realized that, I went back. I think I have like six more in my garage right now. But those two in particular, I like the effect I could get off of those. And, in generally, most of what you're seeing in those works, most of what you're seeing in the painting is actually on the background, on the storm window itself. And then I painted some on the foreground. And actually on Ernest, there's actually some of the kind of accent work is painted on the foreground of the first window. But in general, those two, I felt like they were very, I mean, a lot of my work's architectural, but those were very specifically architectural in a way. They represented, one's kind of an interpretation of Falling Water, and actually one's kind of an interpretation of the Ernest Hemingway house in Key West, which I'd just been to right before I did the Ernest. And so there was something I thought about, with the Global Garden and the concept that you guys had. Something about the idea of a painted a work that was using a recycled window, represented something architectural, but still had a lot of color and a lot of that kind of, there's a lot of green to both of those pieces as well. So I don't know, that those two pieces to me stuck out as ones that would make a lot of sense for that exhibition.
That's wonderful. Can you talk a little bit about your journey from, I mean, let me ask you this, have you always been a painter?
No, no. I was. I went to school originally. I thought, as many a teenager, I thought I would be a writer at one point in time. So I think I focused on that for a long time, and then, realized much later into my late 30s that I was like, well, I noticed I like the idea of writing, but I don't apparently like the process because I never actually do it. And so it's one of those things that, I had painted a little bit when I was in my 20s, just barely. I've never really had much in terms of art classes. I haven't taken any kind of formal artistic education or any painting classes or anything like that. But I really kind of had messed around with things a little bit in my 20s. But then really right around when I was probably starting about 5 years ago, I just started working with like some craft paints that were left over, and someone else had kind of left some materials out, and I started working with them. And I don't know, there was something, compared to writing, there's something about the immediacy of the expression, and something that, you can, it's a lot easier to ask someone to look at a painting than to ask them to read a 5-page short story. It's definitely less of a commitment, and it really is. I felt like I could, I think it's expression's what it gets down to. And it's like, I really felt like it's something that I can get this kind of immediacy of expression, that I can get this idea out, be comfortable with something that was in my head, have it out, and actually get kind of an immediate reaction to it.
When did you start using recycled windows, recycled material?
So it was probably about a year ago, which is actually, yeah, if you're looking behind me, it's a little surprising that it was about a year ago. And I think at this point I've done over 20 works with using them. And it was, I had an antique window in my kitchen that had been sitting there for a while, and I wasn't happy with the way it looked. Somebody had put some stickers on the back of it, and I was kind of always unhappy with, like, oh, it was a nice accent piece. It was one of those that was kind of a big window that's surrounded by smaller windows. And, one day I had, I think I had been to the Met in New York, and my son was very into Mondrian at the time. Like, that was one of the things he picked up on. And I had been to Townsend West the year before, like to the Frank Lloyd Wright. And I'd been kind of looking at some of that stuff, and I tried to kind of do my version of ripping off one of Frank Lloyd Wright's windows in kind of a little bit of a combined style with Mondrian. And I did it to that window, and it really, there was just something about the process that stuck with me. And I kept at first I was doing canvas work, and I kept doing canvas work after that, but I kept coming back to these windows, and now everyone that knows me, someone just dropped off 6 windows the other day. It's amazing how many. It is surprising, especially from just the environmental impact of it. If you look around at how many windows are just sitting by the side of the road, I mean, now I see them everywhere I look, but I find myself picking up so many, especially if it's something unique. But it's great to be able to take something like that was just going to be discarded and be able to use it and turn it into something that at least I think is visually appealing.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's visually beautiful, appealing. I love that you've got this Mondrian and Wright influence, and they may have inspired you, but you've really in a short period of time, you've made it your own in such a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing way that leaves so much interpretation for the viewer. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and it is kind of like, I'll give a little bit of a wry name or something to it, but it really is. There's so many. There's a piece I have that a Grizzled Plummet is the name of one of them, and the whole idea, although you don't really see the name, so it's like most people are like, oh, okay. But everyone I talk to about it, they're like, yeah, it's these rays that are coming up and out. It's really about kind of like a hopeful piece. And to me, the entire idea I was painting with was, this is about something falling. It's about descent. But it really is. It kind of comes up to, what you think about, things and how they look. There was a piece I was working on recently that I was like, okay, it's kind of another thing. It was kind of like, to me, it was like flowers, and I was kind of doing a pot at the bottom and flowers. And then my daughter at the end of it, that's the thing. I get so much input from so many people while I'm doing things, like, how does this look? What do you think this will? But she was like, well, does it have to be that way? And I was like, oh, what do you mean? She's like, well, if you turn it that way. And I turned it and I was like, oh, it looks like a fish. Oh, okay, well then this is a fish now. And it's like, even to me, it wasn't until the end of the process where I was like, oh, now I understand what this is. But so it is kind of, it's the process I get to during the course of making the work.
This is wonderful. And I hope everyone listening checks out Eddie's work in Global Garden, but I also hope that they follow you on social media and go to your website. And when I post this video, I'll also include those links as well, because your artistic journey is so unique and interesting and honestly fun. For me, your use of color is really a joyful experience.
And honestly, I'm just happy that I'm going to make this regardless. That's what I figured out. And it's like, I'm just happy anyone appreciates or can find some beauty in it. So that to me is extremely fulfilling to hear that.
Thank you so much, Eddie.
Thank you. Have a great day.